Okay, so we're going to talk about the cell. And remember, you can rewind at any time, you can slow it down, you can speed it up, and make sure you have this in your notes. Be ready for your screencast quiz tomorrow. So, first thing we need to talk about is cell theory. So there were two scientists, their names were Schleiden and Schwann, and they came up with their 3 rules for cell theory. So all organisms are made up of cells. The cell is the basic unit of living things or life, and all cells form from existing cells. So if you're living and you're an organism, you're only made up of cells. It's the basic unit for living things, and all cells form from existing cells. There are 2 different kinds of cells. The first kind of cell is prokaryotic, and these do not have a nucleus or membrane-bound organelle. So that's going to be your bacteria or your archaeas. An organelle is structures that perform a given function in a cell. The second type is eukaryotic. They do have a nucleus and membrane-bound organelles. And these are found in mostly multicellular organisms, so your mushrooms, all animals, and yeast, which are actually single-celled, but they're eukaryotic. So they have a nucleus and they have membrane-bound organelles. We're going to talk about those a little bit more as we go through the cell in class. So the cell has many parts. The first one is a cell wall, which is only found in a plant cell. And all it does is it gives the structure support. So think of it like the beams of a building. It keeps the cell from basically falling apart. Another part of the cell is the cell membrane. This is found in both plant and animal cells. Animal cells will only have a cell membrane. It basically, once again, it protects the cell. It's really thin. It's like border patrol. It controls what gets in and gets out. Cytoplasm is another part. This is basically a jelly-like substance that fills the cell. It holds all the organelles in place, and it supports the cell just like the cell wall does. Then there's the nucleus. The nucleus is basically the brain of the cell. It controls everything the cell does. And it's a ball-shaped organelle. It's usually at the middle of the cell. Sometimes it isn't. We're going to look at those under the microscope. If you saw the dots in class today, those were probably nuclei or nucleuses of each cell. Then there's the ribosomes. These are small, sphere-like organelles, and they're found in the cell or on the endoplasmic reticulum, which we'll talk about in a minute. That creates proteins for the cell to use. It's like a factory. Endoplasmic reticulum basically transport these proteins to other materials or throughout the cell. And there are 2 types. There's smooth endoplasmic reticulum, or ER, which has no ribosomes on it. It just transports. And then there's rough, which has ribosomes on it. So in this picture, here we have some rough ER, which has the ribosomes on it. You can see how that looks. And then some smooth is over here. So there aren't any. These just transport. These make the proteins and transport. Mitochondria are bean-shaped, and they're located in the cytoplasm. These are your power plants. They make your energy. So think about photosynthesis. When they make the energy from the light, it goes to the mitochondria to supply it. Then there are chloroplasts, which are only in plant cells, and like I just said, they use sunlight to make energy. And they contain chlorophyll. The Golgi complex looks like ER, but it really isn't, and that ships materials to other parts of the cell. It's basically like UPS or FedEx. Lysosomes, and when you think of lysosome, think Lysol or any other cleaning product. They're small structures. They contain enzymes that get rid of the waste products in the cell. It's just like a cleaning product. I always think Lysol helps me remember it. Make sure you fill in the chart, but that's actually going to be your quiz tomorrow. And this whole thing is basically a test question alert. Your screencast quiz, you're going to fill in the chart with all of the functions and